Howdy, all of you delicious people! I'm here today to do more of my comic collection. This time around, this video is going to be much more of like indie titles and is going to be much more creative as far as what I've chosen to put in this box that's in front of me here. There could be some crossover stuff. There could just be some unique titles. Either way, I'm going to thrust them all out to you and just show them all off because I thought they were interesting. And so, with that said, this box, it seems, is a little bit smaller than others. So I'm kind of tempted to just double up with comic videos today so you'll get more than one. I have plenty of boxes still left over, so it's fine. Plus, also, it gets me to be able to show off other things like more DC stuff because I haven't done that in a while. I've kind of more so focused on Marvel lately and so on and so forth. So let's get into this. So firstly, with how kind of small this box was, I started to notice that there were some books that were kind of a little bit kerfuffled. So like if you're going to see any of those, I apologize for any of their conditions. But if anything, also, I was kind of worried because I think some of these books are kind of valuable, and like I didn't like how they were kind of a little bit kind of a little messed up. So, anyways, with that said, let's make our way into just showing these off. So, we of course have a Walking Dead number one, or The Walking Dead #1. I had gone to also notice that this cover would eventually be homaged in a number of things. And at some point, I wanted to go on and find those homages. So that was kind of cool to have at least this in my collection. I'm not quite sure if this was a reprint or not. But yeah, like, I had come to find, like, how really expensive, like, the early Walking Dead comic books were. So, like, I was like, okay, I need to get this as early as I can because yeah, like they were getting really pricey really quickly. I also have if I can kind of a volume 1 of The Walking Dead. I think this had to be in a certain number of printing because yeah, like even the volume books were getting really expensive. So yeah, so and I wanted to definitely get the early volume of this so that way I can read the books because yeah, I kind of realized that The Walking Dead was getting very expensive to just try to read their books. And I wanted to just because I'd watched quite a bit of the show to just kind of see how the comic books were slightly tweakingly different, and it was really interesting to see that the Walking Dead comic books were done in black and white. So I'd also gotten this one as well. The Free Comic Book Day Walking Dead, where it has Michonne and I think the Governor in the cover. So I had to get this because, like, yeah, like, try to get anything Walking Dead I could. So, yeah. And so I ended up also getting The Walking Dead Volume 2 because, of course, because again, these volume books are really expensive, so I try to get them as early as I could to try to avoid having to spend an arm and a leg. Plus, I also really wanted to read as much as I could of The Walking Dead, just because again, like, regardless of, like, well, the show is the same as the book. Yeah, like, it is really similar, but there is slightly tweakingly different things. And I also liked the whole black and white thing. Like, it would have been interesting if they would have gone on to have, like, The Walking Dead in not only color, but then also did, like, black and white in in a variation of discs or whatever, like, you could have chosen. Like, that would have been cool. So we have Batman and Spider-Man. So this is one of those, like, crossover kind of comic books. Like, I'd of course go on to find out that, like, in recent comic books, they're kind of doing the same thing right now with Deadpool and Batman, and I thought that was a cool thing. And I've checked that out, and I've found that to be interesting. And, like, it's kind like, I do also have, like, there's this giant book that I'm kind of concerned of the condition of it. and I'm trying to figure out exactly where it is. I do have like a giant thing of Spider-Man and Superman where they like had come together in this big, huge, massive book that I'm very concerned at the condition of it of because how big the book is, and I have to figure out where it is now. But I do have that, and I did read that story. So we now get into the amalgamation books, or the amalgam books. We have Darkclaw here, which is to be the Wolverine Batman crossover. Immediately when I saw this book, I'm like, this is something interesting. Like, it really goes on and has the cover look like the Batman the Animated Series thing, but also it has us realize that this is to be a Wolverine Batman kind of hybrid character, and I thought that was really interesting. This is issue number 1. The book here says Darkclaw Adventures for the kind of the writing that's right there. Okay, now we have another amalgam number 1. This is Lobo the Duck, trapped in a world he never fragged. Yeah, so I like Howard the Duck. I liked Lobo, so eventually I had gotten on to get this crossover. It was funny. It looked weird, so I just had to. So we get a character called the Shadow here, number 25. This is the final issue. I do think I do have the number 1 of the Shadow. I do have it, I think, somewhere. And like, I did see the movie. I do enjoy the movie. I have reviewed the film on the channel, so you can check out my review of it if you really want to. But this is a really interesting character, and I think that he is kind of very underrated compared to so many other things. Yeah, the movie wasn't exactly the best of ideas, but I thought that there was something enough there. There's some potential there. Oh, I did not know if I had any Grendel whatsoever, but I do. Grendel... I have so much stuff that I don't know exactly what I have. I apologize. If it's like, yeah, you have no idea. Like, is this even your collection? Yeah, it feels like sometimes that I have no idea what I have. But I wanted to at least collect some Grendel stuff because I heard this character to be really interesting. Grendel Tales, 4 Devils, 1 Hell. This is 1 of 6. This cover looked really interesting to me, and I just... when I was to go on and finally find some kind of Grendel out in the wild, I'm like, I'm collecting this because I just need something Grendel, because I thought that this character was so fascinating, and I just wanted to just collect something of his. And hopefully I'll go on and I'll get some more along the road. Who Wants to Be a Superhero, number 1. This is to be the feedback issue. I had watched this show, Who Wants to Be a Superhero, and I thought it to be interesting enough. Like, it was kind of reality show where people were pretending to be superheroes, and it was kind of like a cosplay, kind of escalated into like, okay, these people have to play these personas, and it's not really who they are. Like, it's not their crazed or delusional, what? No, like, they're just going on and they're basically playing these roles. It's kind of like how WWE has like all these wrestlers, and they have to have them be these personas 24/7. Like, it's kind of like the same thing. Where in this reality show we have these people who are playing superheroes, and this show actually went for a number of seasons. It was hosted by Stan Lee, and if you guys have never seen it before, hopefully it's available somewhere, or I can probably tell you a number of bootleg apps that may have it. But that was such an interesting show. I really liked it, and I thought it was really cool how Feedback won the first season. And then eventually I went on to watch other seasons to kind of see how things were kind of going to get the same or getting better. So I had gotten this specific book, Ghostbusters Volume 1, because of course it is to be having the Beatles kind of walk here. Plus also, like, I loved the Ghostbusters comic books, so I was just trying to collect anything that I could of different variations of it, just to keep up on the Ghostbusters comic books. And at some point in other videos, you could probably go on and see that I collected the Ghostbusters Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover, so I did collect that. And I did start to read that series, and I did enjoy it. I read the Ghostbusters comic books, and it's really fun. So much fun. It reties in all the movies, and it really just goes on and has a lot of fun with the movie stuff. And eventually, like for how I was reading, they were bringing in Vigo the Carpathian back and Yanish back, and I was like, ooh, like that sounds pretty interesting. Because I loved the first two movies, like, and also I thought it was interesting how they were trying to re-add in like all of the Ghostbusters stuff eventually. Like they're tying in like the real Ghostbusters, Extreme Ghostbusters. They were tying in all the movies, every single one of them, and I just enjoyed that. Then we also have the 100-page Spooktacular of Ghostbusters. I thought that this cover was just interesting. So, yeah, I had to collect this also. We have the IDW Ghostbusters. What's in Sanheim just happened. Sanheim, if you don't know, is to have been a Halloween special ghost that they had. I think the title of it was When Halloween Was Forever is when he shows up, I believe. You can adjust or question that or comment and correct me if you'd like if I didn't say that correctly. But yeah, Sanheim, of course, was a real Ghostbusters monster, so it's kind of interesting to see that they have a thing here, and that's why I got that. This one, it seems, doesn't have a a plastic on it or anything. There's probably a reason for that. It's probably like, just chuck this in here. So we have like a Wild Wild West thing going on here. We have a Ghostbusters Displaced Aggression. I had to collect this also. It was really interesting to be like, wait a minute, what is this? Like a Old West story? And then I kind of read it and I was like, okay. Like they just needed to get just every idea on pen to paper. Oh, okay, so that was cover number 1A. I also got cover number B also of the same book. So here's where I actually kind of spent and got some just variations of the same book. Just because of how I just really like Ghostbusters as a comic book. Ghostbusters Displayed Aggression. This is issue number 2. This is cover B. I like this cover because it looks like you have a Ghostbuster in knight armor, and he has the flame for a sword. So yeah, like I was like, okay, what is this story about? And this is Ghostbusters. It says issue 3 of 4. And the reason why I basically just got this is because the proton and the ghost trap equipment to all be used on the cover. So like I was just kind of really just like, ooh, like this is just this pops as far as a cover is concerned. And I like for the story, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like I was just kind of interested. So we have a IDW here, number 1. This is called Infestation, and it has the Ghostbusters on it, and it looks like it's mostly the costumes from Ghostbusters 2 are on the side here. If you can't see, I'll get it a little bit closer. You can kind of see here they have like the slime machines or whatever, the slime backpacks that they had in Ghostbusters 2. But I thought it was interesting to see like Stay Puft like all in disarray here, so I just thought the cover was interesting. We have another Infestation 2. That is to be number 2 back here of IDW, and I have no idea what this is. It's just a smashing combination because I got this just with the book anyways. Uh, we have like Bumblebee, and we have a turtle, and we have the guy from GI Joe, Snake, and whoever the other guy is here. I have no idea who this guy is. No clue. Don't know why that book is there. I guess they just needed to give me a book for some goofy reason. This is to be Infestation. This is number 2. This is Burnham Hots Ghostbusters. So this is just I think this is just the same book but a different cover. So I thought that this was interesting looking. I love artwork. I do. If you can tell by a certain number of just times that I've gone on to just be taken in by like, hey, I just wanted to get this just because it was flashy and cool looking. I didn't care what the story was. I'm just a sucker for covers. So Ghostbusters number 7 of IDW. This, of course, reminded me of Ghostbusters 2, where they're on the Statue of Liberty. Egon has his PKE meter out, and then Ray has his like ghost trap out. And they're on this part of the Statue of Liberty, but if anything, it's kind of funny because they weren't actually on that part of the Statue of Liberty in the movie. They were more so in like the headpiece, like the part there. I've seen Ghostbusters 2 like countless of times. It's also with Ghostbusters 1, so yeah, it's like I had to get something like this. Anything that reminded me of the movies, like I basically had to get the cover of it because I was just a fan of the movies. I just fanboyed heavily out. More than likely, most of this will probably be a good chunk of Ghostbusters stuff. So it'll be really interesting to do the thumbnail just because, like, this is a bunch of random stuff. But if anything, we have IDW number 10. This is Ghostbusters Haunted America Part 2. I didn't have Part 1. Oh, that sucks. No, yeah, I have a reprint of this same comic book. Welcome to New Orleans. So, yeah, we have Peter here, and this kind of just setting piece. This kind of feels a little bit lazy, but I just had to get it because Haunted America looked really interesting. But yeah, I never got the Part 1, so maybe someday I will go on and I will get the Part 1 if I can find it. But anyways. And this is to be Part 3 of the same thing, kind of basically the same kind of design of things. And again, I have a double of it. This is to be Ghostbusters issue number 12, kind of same thing here. This is when they're in Seattle, because it says here. So, Haunted America just sounded like an interesting idea. We have Ghostbusters number 13 of IDW. This was just interesting because of the ghost shark. Just, honestly, this art is just so cool in these comic books. I really was wowed by the artwork. This is Ghostbusters number 14. For a few protons more. Seems that we have a showdown between Ghostbuster and Ghostbuster going on here. Kind of Wild West style of cover work. This very much reminded me of the real Ghostbusters intro screen, because we have Ghostbusters number 13, and if you guys remember the real Ghostbusters intro, we have like all of these monsters is kind of there, but they actually don't look as grotesque as this. So yeah, I absolutely loved this. We then have Ghostbusters IDW number 16, and this is, of course, to remind us of the Vigo Carpathian painting. And then at the end of Ghostbusters 2, like, there's the same portrait of the Ghostbusters, just kind of. So carrying all these out in the firehouse, I'm like, well, immediately I'm like, oh yeah, of course I have to collect this. We have Ghostbusters the other side. We just have all the 4 Ghostbusters here, and they have Ray has his proton wand going. So the other Ghostbusters the other side, issue number 2. It says on here, R.I.P. There lies the Ghostbusters. Who are you gonna call now? So yeah, so the Ghostbusters, it looks like they have turned into Ghost in this issue. You can kind of see by Winston's pant leg kind of fading in and out. Kind of an interesting issue here to cover. Ghostbusters the other side, issue number 3. Whoa. Almost poke myself in the face. Hilariously enough. Alright. Ghostbusters the other side. These covers are getting a little bit dark. But if anything, yeah, it's ironically, in the real Ghostbusters, there was to have been a episode where there actually was a human on the no ghost sign instead of a ghost, and that was a time where I think the Ghostbusters had gone on to this other dimension, and they would find out that there were ghosts that would bust humans. So I had to get that for that reason. We have Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is to be it's saying on the bottom, the movie. So I did collect some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles individually, rather than the crossover between Ghostbusters. So I do have some Ninja Turtle stuff. So I do actually have some of these. I think I do have Shredder's Revenge, but or the Shredder story, because of course I do, because it was really interesting. We have Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Secret of the Ooze, the official movie adaptation. So yeah, I got this also. Like, I know that this one is like, really? You're getting the movie stuff for this? But yeah. I just really wanted to just find some interesting bit of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. Then we have the IDW Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 6, and it had Casey Jones on the cover. I thought comic books that would go on and focus on Casey Jones were really interesting. I'd come to find out that there was also some other comic book that just I think focused on Casey Jones, and eventually I'm gonna collect that, and eventually I want to get that. I just really liked Casey Jones as a character besides just the Turtles. So it was really interesting watching him in the original cartoon for how he very much sounded like Clint Eastwood. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 13. I just got this because I thought that the cover was interesting. We have some pizza here. We have turtles playing a video game. It is kind of a simple but interesting cover. I thought I actually had some like really early Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff, but maybe it's not in this box. I'm not quite sure. Thought I had a lot more than this. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ghostbusters. This is issue number 1 at the crossover. Yeah. I do have more issues of this, but it's, of course, you could go on and see it in another video, but I do have more issues than just this one. So, Marvel Comics had at one point gone on to do Bit of video game stars in their own comic debut. This is to be Double Dragon issue number 1. Some people may go on and just know Double Dragon from either the video games or quite possibly from the one-off movie that they did. But yeah, like, I was just kind of going through. I think I found this in just like a random like half-price books or something somewhere, and I was like, oh my god, they have Double Dragon comic books? Like, this is crazy. So, like, I luckily got to issue number 1. I'm like, heck yeah. Like, I at least just wanted issue number 1 of Double Dragon. Like, I didn't really care about collecting the series. I just wanted at least number 1. So, we have Batman versus Predator 1 of 3 here. I thought that this was rather interesting, and then all of a sudden, like, Predator just, like, crossovered with just a number of people, and they just kept going with this, and they kept going with the Batman and Predator. So, like, they just kept going with this thing, and I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm just collecting this, and that's it. Like, that's all I was really interested in. Just, like, okay, like, this is just an interesting, unique crossover. Like, I would hear that like Alien and Predator movies, Alien and Predator, comic books. I mean, were actually there were some very unique ones. There was somebody that collected a comic book where there was I think an Alien comic book that didn't have any of the word bubbles in there, and supposedly that comic was like really expensive, because it was like an error. And so yeah, that guy had those books and they were really expensive, so that's why I just decided to like, oh yeah, let's collect a Predator thing, because like I thought that the books were probably valuable. So I thought that this was actually really interesting. We have a Wildstorm, Friday the 13th comic book issue number 1. I thought this was so interesting, so I had to collect it. Like, I would find, like, there would be this comic book called Hack and Slash that would go on to have, like, Chucky and Ash and a lot of other kind of horror kind of characters involved in that. So if you are to be people that do like horror comic books, maybe that could be up your alley. There, I think, was a video I did in the past called Comic Books Where to Start. And I think there were some interesting titles within that video that you may want to check out also. There's to be also a Nightmare on Elm Street, You'll Never Sleep Again, issue number 1 here, that I was like, okay, I want to collect both of these, because I had, of course, watched Freddy vs. Jason like a handful of times, so I really thought that these comic books were really interesting. Plus, also, they were just kind of one-off things I could just collect. So we have DC versus Marvel. It all starts here. So I thought that this was really cool, for them to have gone on and had this like huge crossover, and there's so many people on this cover. Lobo and Wolverine. We have Superman, Hulk, so many people on this cover, it's so interesting. Superboy in his kind of leather jacket and glasses. Marvel versus DC. This is to be the showdown of the century. So I have no idea if this is a continuation from that exact book. I just grabbed this one also because it looked really interesting. This is to also be Marvel Comics versus DC, the Showdown of the Century. This is to have Hulk and Superman with long hair. We have Lobo versus Wolverine, Batman versus Captain America, Superboy versus Spider-Man, Wonder Woman versus Storm on here. Oh, this is issue number 3, because it says right here. So I missed that. I apologize. So maybe this one is issue number 2. Yeah, this one is issue number 2. I just noticed that right there. Yeah. Kind of nice that they made it so easy for you to find that with all the mess of all these things. So this is the issue number 4 of DC versus Marvel. So yeah, so I like these kind of interesting mashups. I had to get this one. Green Lantern and Silver Surfer working together. This is so cool. Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern here, Silver Surfer. I thought that this was so interesting. And yeah, so had to get this just because during a time I was really a big kind of Kyle Rayner fan, and I thought that this was just a unique book, even though I'm sure it's probably not really worth much of anything. Unlimited Access number 1, featuring Spider-Man, Green Lantern, the Hulk, Wonder Woman, the Juggernaut, and more. He's back, the man who walks between universes. So I had to grab this just because of the cover alone. It was interesting and unique. So there is that for you. Oh, we have more of the amalgam books here. We have Iron Lantern. I read this book, and I think this was like the first ever amalgam book I read. And it was so interesting how they combined and smashed the characters. They smashed their names together. And like it was so interesting to see this all play out. As well as also I thought that there were just really interesting covers. We have Spider-Boy number 1. This is to have Spider-Man and Superboy just kind of amalgam together. We also have a Spider-Boy team-up number 1 that I have featuring the Legion. The Legion Galactic Guardians 2099. That I thought was hilarious. Alright. So we have a 20th anniversary going on of Image, and we have a comic book called Hell Yeah, issue number 1. I found out about this book, and I'm like, okay, like, what is Hell Yeah about? And I actually thought it was really interesting. This is issue number 2 of Hell Yeah. Issue number 3. Alright. Now we're getting into, of course, I had gotten this while the movie was to, of course, be popular. So, of course, Kick-Ass. This is issue number 1. And this is issue number 2. It was really interesting to see that the costume in the comic book was different from the movie. But of course, like they had to give the actor like a mouth, so it wouldn't be like like so. Yeah, it made a lot of sense. Plus, also like the comic book and movie, like obviously, like the movie didn't have to be identical to the film, and there's some stuff here that's slightly tweakingly different than the movie. But yeah, but it was really interesting. We have Kick-Ass number 3. They started it. Issue number 7, Ass Kicked. Alright, so now we're getting to a company called Dynamite, and this is issue number 0 of Highlander, which I'm sure no one will probably care about because I reviewed the movie and no one really cared. But maybe at some point, maybe because of the reboot or the remake, maybe someone will care about the Highlander. So that'll be nice if the video is actually, the video that I did of Highlander does better. But regardless, I'm gonna watch the Henry Cavill Highlander anyways and review it at some point because that's going to happen. I just thought it was really interesting that they were doing this Highlander book, so I had to get it. I just had to really get these unique books, regardless of their real true value. There's also be a Dynamite Green Hornet #1. I remember watching the Green Hornet original show. I saw the movie because of just my enjoyment of the original show. And so, yeah, so I also have like a Green Hornet bobblehead that is to have been from the movie just because of my interest of the character. So, at least I am to find those characters be interesting. So we have a Dynamite issue #1 of a book called Masks. So this had all the kind of the more interesting kind of rare characters like the Shadow and Green Hornet and Zorro. I don't quite remember who exactly this character is. But I think he is also very much interesting. So this is a unique book from Dynamite called Masks, and I would say to people to just check it out because it's just interesting. Then, of course, Dynamite #1 of The Shadow, because, of course, I had collected so much of The Shadow. I was like, well, hey, might as well just collect this also. We now have an issue of something that is based on a major motion picture. RoboCop #1. Yeah, RoboCop. Why not? I thought it was interesting that RoBot had a comic book, or RoboCop had a comic book, so I had to look into getting an issue 1 of this. I saw there were many different variations of RoboCop books, but I wanted this one, of course, because it looked just the most visually interesting out of all of them, so I collected that. We have a Dexter comic book here, #1 by Marvel. This is at a time where I really did love Dexter, and so I found out that there was a Marvel comic book series of it, so I'm like, okay, I'm collecting this. Here is a homage of the Batman Returns cover, and it's done by the Boys. So I have a Boys book. I want to say that I do have more than just this, but maybe I just have this. So, but if anything, I thought that this cover was really fun. So now we're getting into some Power Rangers comic books, so I do actually have those. We have Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie adapted comic book. This looks really cool. It, of course, looks like a movie cover, but yeah, it's... like, I thought that these comic books were rather interesting. So, I have a few of these. We have the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Saga, and this is to depict when the Green Ranger was taking over the command center. I had found this one, like, because I think a lot of these other Power Ranger books that I had were right around the time when the show was on telly and the movie, like, I did collect those things very early, but this one specifically I collected much later, and this one I think was very expensive compared to all the other things. So this is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Saga #2, and like I thought that this cover was so cool looking, so I'm like, okay, I need to collect this. So I'm kind of curious, specifically what this book is worth now because of the death of Jason David Frank, but like I am just happy that I have it in my collection. We have a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic book issue #5. This comic book is a little strange. Anyways, this is to be Thundercats. Thundercats is a comic book issue #0. From Windstorm. Yeah, I collected a lot of random stuff. I did, I think, kind of very casually watch Thundercats, so I don't know why I have this book. Maybe it was something that was just free or cheap or something, so that's probably why I got it. Because I was not adamant about, like, Wild Thundercats, so I don't know why I have this book. Maybe I just randomly just have it. I just don't know. Um, this was actually a really interesting story, and this was to be called Snapshot. And a lot of people are like, what the heck is this? So, come to find out, if you guys would remember, possibly, there was this Will Smith movie called Enemy of the State, and it's kind of similar to this story. We'd come to find that somebody's, I think, either camera or phone ends up getting lost, and some random person ends up finding it, and come to find out there's some controversial stuff within this camera or within this phone, and whoever was to have gone on and found out about it or touched it or whatever, there is to be a guy out there that is assassinating people from any connection of this camera or this phone. And so, like, it's all about, like, okay, this person has this camera or this phone, and, like, it's a really interesting story. So if you've never heard this from Image Snapshot, and you want something other than superhero stuff, I would suggest this. I thought this was an interesting story. And I think I would have thought that I had more than just the first issue of this, because I thought that this was good enough. But maybe I don't. I'll just have to siphon through more of my collection to see if I have it somewhere. Because I just have so much stuff just chalked away for a rainy day. So, for those of you that are to be Dune fans, I have a number 3 issue of a limited series of the official adaptation of Dune. This is to be like the original film, so I thought that this was interesting. I had gone on to ultimately see the Dune film, and I did enjoy it. Like, I thought it was visually interesting, so I just collected this just because another movie thing, so I thought that that was cool. This comic book, I had just collected it just because it's for unique cover. We have a comic book called Route 66, and you see a number of people that are all in this movie theater, and I thought that that was so interesting. Like, they're all wearing 3D glasses. Like, some of these characters here are like, they're very, they look like werewolves, and yeah, it's just really interesting. So I collected this book just because of that. So I just thought this cover was really unique. So this is issue number 12. Good, it says on the bottom there. So, and this is of Route 66. Next up, we have a comic book called the Hyper Naturals. What a mouthful. This is from a free comic book day thing, so yeah, whatever this book is, I probably didn't read it. I probably just stored it away for a rainy day and never read it. So, I kind of knew that this story was to be, like, freaking everywhere. And I mean everywhere. So, this, of course, is to be Saga from number 1 from Image. So, I had to collect this because feasibly it was like, this thing, like, everybody was enamored about it. Everybody was talking about it. So, I had to collect it. So, regardless of my thoughts about it, we have now a Judge Dredd book of number 1. I thought that this cover was really visually interesting. It just has Judge Dredd, just all these bodies are around him. I thought this was absolutely cool. On the top there says, "He is the law." So this is a DC number 1 of Judge Dredd, which is kind of interesting because I know that Judge Dredd is at a completely different company other than like stuff like DC, but I just thought it was interesting to collect this. There is also to be a Judge Dredd Classics from IDW. It's the 2013, and this, and the bottom says free comic book day. This is just a really interesting just cover here. We have another free comic book day from a comic book called The Strangers. This is a fantastic first issue of the mind-bending new series for free. It probably had to be, because I don't think anybody really cared about The Strangers all that often. Yeah. These books are kind of fascinating, but also just like, what was I thinking? They were probably super cheap. We have another free comic book day of Mega Man. Mega Man did actually have comic books. So I was like, okay, cool, this is interesting. So yeah, so it's cool to have that in my collection. We have Stan Lee's a character I can barely pronounce. Chakra. Chakra the Invincible. Feel the power. So yeah, so I wanted like a very unique Stan Lee book, and this was it. And it was also a free comic book day thing, so whatever this goofy thing is, so I collected that. We have another free comic book day from Bleeding Cool, collecting comic books 101. Top sort of graphic novels, the summer of books, death match, in stores now. Whatever this is, whatever this thing is, maybe it's a magazine, maybe it's a comic book. I have no idea. I didn't really look into it. It is what it is. We have another free comic book day, and plus also I really did want to collect this because I was to have been a player of Mass Effect, so this was cool to have this book. So great, Mass Effect as a comic book. We have another free comic book day thing, a Aphrodite. Aphrodite. It has a numeral. It has the weird goofy number. It's issue number 1. Whatever this is, I have no idea. Whatever this story is, a woman's riding a dragon, and I'm just like, what the heck is this? I have no idea. This one is to be The Rocketeer, the official movie adaptation. I wanted to collect some comic books of The Rocketeer, so this started it all off. So I thought it was also just a really cool cover, so immediately wanted to gravitate to that. The Rocketeer Adventures magazine. This is to be issue number 1. I really liked this cover, so I checked this one out also. We have the Intrinsic. This seems to be a supernatural group of some kind. Another free comic book day thing, so there is that for you. Alright, we're getting into seemingly a Spawn book finally. We have a Spawn book from Image number 16. So huzzah, we have that book. Dynamo 5. This is to be another one of those covers that have people in a movie theater, and that's probably why I just bought it. So, regardless of the title, I just thought that the cover was cool. So I actually bought that one. It wasn't just a free comic book day thing. The Coven. This is to be a Dynamic Forces exclusive. Whatever this is, the Coven. It looks like there's a signature somewhere because there's a letter of authenticity on this. On the back. So, it must be signed somewhere. Yeah, it's the Coven issue number 2, it looks like. Sure, I have no idea. We have Rage from Dark Horse Comics. This is issue number 1. A new vision of the future from the creators of Doom and Quake begins here. So, for some reason, I have this book. I don't remember why. I really don't remember why. We have Gen 13, The Unreal World, issue number 1. Why do I have this book? Maybe any of these things are really good stories, and I just am completely unaware. We have another Gen 13 from Image, issue number 1. It says Rave on the top here. I must have really liked Gen 13 at some point. We have a Cyberforce Zero, issue 0. Don't know why I have these books. I really don't. This must have just been early stuff that I just had, my parents got me, or what. I have no idea why they're here. We have a collector's Dracula from Millennium. This is book 2, The Rise of V-Cell. Interesting. I didn't know I had a Dracula book, but yeah, this is cool. This cover looks interesting. Like, I don't know why I have this. I really don't, but it looks cool. Like, yeah, maybe this is one of those where, like, when I saw the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, I immediately got this also because I was looking at Dracula comic books, and I must have stumbled upon this also. I have no idea. I don't even know why it's to just be a book 2 either. But anyways, so maybe I found it in a store randomly somewhere. Alright. Now we actually get to a character that I thought was really goofy and fun. This is to be a first issue of Madman Comics. This character, if you know nothing about him, here's what happened. So, I went on to some website at one point, and I just found the shirt of this character that just had this thing, and it said Madman on it. I'm like, what is this? So, I retroactively just went on to search who this character was, and the more and more I found out about him, the more interesting he became to me. And yeah, he was just like a smashing of these two names together, and he kind of reminded me a lot of like Captain Atom in a way, like the DC character Captain Atom, like very much, and that's why I probably liked him. But yeah, this character was so fascinating, and I actually liked his story, and so yeah, I got on to at least got this. I think I want to say that there's maybe more than one issue that I have of Madman, but whoa. Flew off my hands. Let me pause here so I can get that. But yeah, this comic book is definitely to have an interesting character in it. Check it out if you've never heard of him before, because I'm sure you probably haven't. We have a book called Lazarus. I think I just picked this book up because I was familiar with DC's Ra's al Ghul and the Lazarus Pit. Or otherwise, I have no idea why I have this book. I have no idea. Why this book? The Man Reincarnations. This is issue number 7? Yeah. I have no clue why I have this book. Borlands, number 11 of Image Comics. Whatever this is. Your guess is as good as mine why I chose this book. I have no idea. I don't know why I have these things. I really don't. I don't know when I collected them. I have no idea. And we're going to get more and more just bizarre books. We have Ultraners. Ultraners prototype. There seems to be a combination of just a lot of on here. It features The Strangers. This is issue number 5. Yeah, whatever this book is, it's a comic book nonetheless. I have no idea what this is. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments below what this is. I have no clue. We have a book that says Titan Comics. It's a preview of BBC's Doctor Who. I think eventually I wanted to go on and I wanted to get a Doctor Who comic book. So I guess this is like the closest thing to it, was to just get this. We have a Virgin Comics issue number 0. Sure. I don't know why I have this. I don't know. This is to be Vampy or Vamp Digital. I think I did read this book at least. So, I thought I do remember getting this one, and I did think that this was like a really interesting, unique book, and so yeah, I would say for if people can figure out what the title of that is, to check that out. It seems that there is to be in this thing a collage of just a combination of stuff just in this thing. You can kind of maybe tell if there's like multiple books in this thing. I have no idea what it is. I may have to just open this one to just kind of just showcase what all is in here, because it's just multiple stuff just jammed in here. So I will do that at least. So we have Star Trek Generations. This is to be, I guess, a paperback. Oh, it looks like most of this stuff is just Star Trek stuff. So, okay, that's why I probably had this all here. So we have even some Star Trek books. So we have this one here. This looks like to be around the time of Generations that's based on the movie. So this must just be a thing from the movie. This is to be a double-sided special issue of Star Trek Next Generation, issue number 50. So we have the Borg cube. So this was really cool. I know my dad, I think, had a number of just Star Trek comic books, so that's probably why I got these. A double-sided 50 issue of Star Trek, issue number 50. This is to be the Star Trek OTS. So we have another Star Trek Next Generation, issue number 72. This is a kind of interesting cover. I don't know why it's not bordered, but if anything, it's in that plastic bag anyways. Then we have a Star Trek Deep Space Nine, issue number 19. I believe this is Cisco and whoever the doctor guy is, kind of being taken care of in a kind of a sick bay. So, all right. So that ends up being what ends up being this episode, and it's kind of even under an hour. So maybe I should just go on and just kind of put this out just how it is. And just be like, okay, like at least it was like almost an hour or so. If anything, these titles were kind of unique and interesting to kind of put out there. But also, it's to be severely, very much more random to where I'm like, I don't know why I have any of these. So that was kind of just like, what was I thinking? Or why would I buy these? Or like, why would I make these choices? Like, hopefully a lot of these things were probably free in my past. Or like, I don't know how I came about some of these. Like, I have no memory of getting them. I have no, like, yeah, like, it's completely lost on me. Maybe I was to go on and find in some YouTube video or something somewhere that some of those books were actually valuable, so that's why I grabbed them. I have no idea why I have some of these books. So, but if anything, there are some covers where I could justify them, but then others where it's like, Like my life just eventually becomes a blur, and I have no reason why I was to go on and have some of these titles. So this is a kind of a fun walk down memory lane in some aspects of just why I had these very random things. But if anything, I'm going to get the heck out of here so I can go on and maybe I'm probably just gonna maybe go on and do just another physical media thing, and maybe I will go on and I'll do another uh a comic book collection thing, even though, yeah, like it is going over an hour now, but still it's me talking. It's kind of what did that. So with that said, thank you for all for watching this, because hopefully I'll go on and I'll keep coming back to this. I really do have a lot of interesting comic book boxes still to come, hopefully when eventually I get to them. I'm kind of planning on wanting to kind of just do a movie review or a show review, and then kind of do these kind of videos and just keep coming back to them, just kind of finishing up my collection. And I know a lot of people can go on and think that these videos are too long, but if anything, I'll still have more comic books. So like that's the reason why I'm probably gonna go on and do this, because I have so many books to just kind of chomp through instead of me kind of doing 10-minute video increments and kind of just kind of shallowly kind of feeding this out. Like I think it's better to just give like off a very big collection in one video and then just kind of just keep coming back to them, because I still have like about like about 5 short boxes and 1 long one. So like I think I still have plethora of many of different videos to come. I will still have so much physical media to still cover. So like these videos are still gonna come, and eventually I'll switch off and I'll start, after I finish off my movie physical media, I will then transition to my show disc physical media, and then eventually maybe I'll even do my video games for those of you who are gamers. But like if anything, this isn't like a video game thing, but if anything, I guess it is like still a physical media thing that I can cover. So maybe I'll do that in the future, because like if anything, it seems that people are to like just kind of like the physical media videos. So I don't know, like I'm just experimenting here and hoping that this is going to go well at some point, and that people just continue to find them interesting. So hopefully they will, because I'll keep doing them as much as I have stuff to cover. So that's it. Bye everybody. Bye everybody.